Have they told you who I am?
Some dead man.
Game of Thrones was this incredible experience that I had, kind of ideal experience, really, of getting to play this beautifully written, iconic character who has a big in and a big out in one very, very solid season of the series. And all I can really say is I had the time of my life, and I wouldn't be sitting here if it weren't for that. One of my favorite memories of making Game of Thrones was being in Dubrovnik, which I got to return to shoot Massive Talent, in the exact same location of where I got my skull crushed in. We were shooting spitting distance away from that arena, and I got to revisit it around the same time of year that we shot that Game of Thrones. So it was like a full circle for me. It was amazing.
What the hell's going on right now? It's kind of a long story.
I want you.
I'm a virgin.
You all are. Blood-Sucking Bastards was it was the first thing that I did after I had shot Game of Thrones. That was a big, broad comedy. A lot of the conversations that I've been having is questions around feeling new to comedy and broadening my horizons. But Blood-Sucking Bastards was dip into very broad comedy, and I had a really good time. I had a really great time working with Frank Kranz, who's an amazing actor and writer-director now. And I guess, yeah, that was a little bit of a preview.
All right, pal. It's time to go. Don't be afraid.
The Mandalorian is another job that has been a huge game changer for me. And I don't know, it really is just something that is a huge honor for me to be a part of. In shooting The Mandalorian, there was a moment where I kind of added a line at the start of the scene. The child was sort of curious about the fire coming out of sort of like a piece of a jet. At the start of the scene, before Amy Sedaris comes walking in, I say, you know, not too close. And then the persons operating the child reacted. So it was like the puppet was improvising with me, and I was like, these people are really on top of it.
Franklin Jurado. Javier Peña, DEA. You're being extradited for money laundering and racketeering.
Narcos was an amazing experience. We got to shoot that in Colombia. Every piece of the first 3 seasons of that show was shot in every area of Colombia, which is a country that I love. It was all location-based, and I think that it captured that visually in the experience of watching the show. I feel like, you know, yes, the DEA chasing the cartel and all those larger-than-life characters and stories, but what I feel most proud of is the Colombian crew and the locations that were captured, and how, I don't know, that the earth of that country kind of emerged as the main character of the experience in such a beautiful way that I feel really proud of that. I love Grumpy Peña.
He's gone. With the money. Your girl gave us up, Pope. We gotta get the f out of here. No.
I remember shooting Triple Frontier with friends. We were in Hawaii. I was with one of my best friends, Oscar Isaac, who made me live with him and his family. And we just had a really good time being badasses in the jungle. It was so cool.
Life is good, but it can be better.
Wonder Woman 1984 is one of the most fun I've ever had on a movie. That was an incredible opportunity for me that Patty Jenkins and Charles Roven gave me. Speaking of like broad, you know, characters, there was a very important emotional center and a really good arc to the character, but there was, I think, a lot of comedy in there as well, which I loved sinking my teeth into. I remember shooting a scene in Wonder Woman 1984, and in the instant I was like, what kind of energy do I need here? And I remembered Nick Nicolas Cage before I ever met him, before the thought of ever making Massive Talent existed. I remember him jumping on the desk in Vampire's Kiss, kind of torturing Maria Conchita Alonso. And I remember in this scene, obviously not deciding to do that, but just remembering that and remembering that scene and his energy in that scene and just wanting a fraction of that kind of chaotic energy to make the scene that we were shooting that day work.
And if all of you stand beside them, then you will burn with them!
Shooting The Bubble, we were with this huge cast in a castle in England. Talk about meta, sort of telling the story of basically what we were experiencing and doing. And it was also fun to come up with this really over-the-top narcissistic character. Got to choose my own costumes. Like, I curated the look of that character very specifically, with the bathrobe and the jewelry and the messy hair. And that's where most of my writing came, was the Crocs and the comfortable pajama pants. And the rest was just being a passenger to the experience of that ensemble, which was a blast.
Welcome to Mallorca, Mr. Cage.
The guy that owns this house, what's his name?
Javi.
Is Javi gonna want me to,
I am Javi.
Nick Cage?
I play Javi Gutierrez in The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I am a super fan of Nicolas Cage. I pay him $1 million to come to my 40th birthday, which thankfully he accepts. I have a hidden agenda, and that unfolds in unexpected ways. To start with the movie, on the page, I feel like there were really strong relationships overall, and thankfully a really solid one develops between Nicolas Cage's character and mine. The other gift of the experience is that my homework was already done. I'd already grown up watching Nicolas Cage movies, some very repeatedly, and was a huge fan of his massive talent. And so in the experience of shooting the movie, he came to it with such professionalism and was such a great scene partner that basically there wasn't more that I had to do to just other than just be in it with him and have fun and play and dance. And so I think that the relationship was on the page, and it was just a matter of realizing it. There are so many memories that I will take away from Massive Talent. One of the special ones was being on a speedboat at sunset on the Adriatic Sea with Nicolas Cage. It was very romantic.